I mean, this bird flu is a complete, total scam. And please don't, 3 months from now, if it breaks out in the U.S., send me an email saying I'm full of crap. They had a few dozen SARS cases if it even existed. A lot of evidence shows it didn't. And they had half of Canada shut down and part of Dallas shut down. So they don't even need to have a real outbreak of this mutating bird flu for them to run around and create a big panic. Number one, if they do create a panic, you need to look at it and know, well, really, how many people are sick? Tens of thousands die every year from the flu. Do you hear the president calling for martial law for that? They're doing this because half the public now in many cities, the national average is like 30-something%, but in some cities, half the people are refusing vaccination for their children. Immunization doesn't even immunize you. They're panicking. They're losing control. They admit the last 5 years, people that have taken the flu shot, they give it to you even when it doesn't cover that year's flu. They haven't gotten it right in 5 years. Then there's the fact that we have piles of documents, literal piles, where the government said they were going to put poisons and toxins and bioweapons in the vaccines. And we've done whole shows on it. And the mental gymnastics that doctors go through to make excuses about this. And it's always low-level doctors. Because, I give vaccines. I'm not an evil person. We didn't say you were evil. You're compartmentalized. The poor people in Africa given the shots, I talked about in the last show, they think they're helping people. They don't know that it's been declassified. They don't know it's been caught. They don't know Indian and African labs have isolated the fact that they're sterilizing the women through the vaccines. And is it a surprise? The very UN agency giving the free shots to women says they want to sterilize them. I mean, and I have these arguments with doctors I know. And I'm like, well, have you read the peer reviews? Well, did you read what this epidemiologist said? Oh, no, I don't read that. I read the AMA. The AMA is bought and paid for by the vaccine makers, by Big Pharma. Well, there's cancer viruses in the vaccines. Oh, you mean the polio vaccine in the 60s. No, I mean now. Can we go to the Google right now? No, I'm busy. Well, here, let's go over here and let's go pull up the Chicago Tribune from 3 months ago where they had a big virology meeting with over 100 top scientists, virologists and epidemiologists. No, just whatever. Okay, sure. C'est la vie, Whatever you say. Just because you say it doesn't mean it's so. And you know what? You get upset because you know it's true. I know a doctor, a friend of mine, one of the biggest practices in Central Texas. That's all I'm going to say. Medical doctor. And, doctors all pretty much volunteer each year at clinics and school vaccinations and things like that at the sports stadiums because so many people haven't taken it. Oh, they say it's the law. You got to go take it. There's no law. You got to take it, but side issue. And so they go. And, he said, Alex, I heard you on the radio, and I didn't believe it. And then we were there giving illegal polio oral vaccines. And I said, well, you come on the show? And he goes, God, no, and don't you say my name. He goes, I just want you to know that I refuse to give them. I'd gone to this clinic to volunteer for, disadvantaged kids that were coming in for the school year, and they had stuff that's supposed to be illegal to give in this country. And of course I knew about that because I've been researching vaccines. Most doctors don't even know that. And he said, yeah, we were giving them SV40 containing oral drips. And it has the SV40 monkey virus and the types of a cancer that you can get. It was unknown. The type of cancer SV40 creates was unknown in this country. We're talking like, well, one of the cancers is the equivalent. One of the cancers the tissues it tends to hit and then form is in the sinus. And then like purple yogurt starts coming. It's described in the medical literature as purple globules. It actually is a fast-acting cancer that it kills you quite quickly, and you can have it. The tumors bust, and it's a purple liquid. Didn't exist before, and now. I mean, it was just incredibly rare. I mean, it was in the, in rare cancers handbooks. And now it's just rampant. And they go, well, we don't give that anymore. What do you mean? Folks, there are, what was that I read in the Scotsman a few weeks ago? In England, it's something like 50. I had that article and never showed it on TV. I don't remember. It's in the Scotsman. It was a huge number. I know it was over 40. But it was just a massive number of new cancer viruses. And they're just racing around, killing people en masse. And, of course, we already know about those very cancer viruses. They've been found in a lot of the other vaccines. It's a whole bunch of vaccines. By the way, they're finding them in vaccines they shouldn't even be in. And you tell the average Joe on the street that cancer is caused by viruses, that's the number one cause. And they'll laugh at you. They don't even know about it. I mean, everybody knows cancer is exploding, folks. I mean, I don't know why I'm talking about vaccines for both shows tonight. It's just that it's such a sterling example. Here's another example. The Army's own handbooks, the Army's own 9-hour training videos that I actually have a copy of, say that depleted uranium is deadly poisonous and radioactive when you're under continual exposure to it. Well, it's always radioactive, but mildly radioactive, but over time, cumulatively is the proper term, extremely devastating. And I mean, I don't just say that. I've read the handbooks and watched the videos and sat there for, a weekend watching them. And I've interviewed Dr. Doug Rockey, the Pentagon's head of depleted uranium and the head at Los Alamos before that, the DU weapons program helping develop this stuff, and the head of the team that went to Iraq after the first Gulf War in the cleanups of the Highway of Death area. And I've interviewed all these other scientists. I mean, this guy's got PhDs and MDs and all these other people. I mean, literally people with 3 or 4 doctorates. But the handbooks say it's deadly poison. The Pentagon does not allow that to be given to the troops. Those handbooks or those training videos, they're not being given any of the gear. They're not doing decontamination. This time they didn't just bombard desert emplacements out in the middle of nowhere on the highway between Kuwait and Baghdad. Now they bombarded most of the major cities, and our troops moved into palaces that were bombarded by this. And it isn't just in the Abrams Sabo round and the Abrams main battle gun used in those Sabo rounds. Sabo is like a huge dart of solid depleted uranium in a smaller cartridge size than the millimeter. I forget the exact millimeter of the Abrams main battle gun, but it's in that casing. You can buy Sabo for a normal 308. Maybe you'll have a 22 Sabo, and it accelerates instead of going, 2,000 feet a second or whatever it is. It goes 7,000 feet a second. Just total acceleration of the round. But side issue, it's not just in the Sabos. It's not just in the Warthog Vulcan cannons. With their little 3-pound each bullet round. It's served up in small arms. It's served up in 50 cals. It's been served up into the main battle gun on the Warriors vehicles. It's been served up in the Bradley fighting vehicles. It's been served up. It's been put on the tips of anti-tank missiles. It's been just put into everything now. And they admit this stuff has got a radioactive half-life of over, now I want you to get ready for this. Go look it up. You're not going to believe me. Just go look it up. The radioactive half-life of depleted uranium is 4.5 billion years. What kind of government do we have that knowingly tells you mercury's nutritious for you? I mean, we have the newscast. We've heard it many times. National study, mercury's good for your brain. I mean, what the hell are you talking about? That tells you that DU doesn't hurt you. And it does. When it gets in your lungs and in your bones, it's continually radioactive. And it just has a horrible effect on you. But talking to Dr. Rockey and many others, it's the heavy metal effect that's so much worse. Here's Ron Paul. Had him on today. I cannot say enough about this interview I did yesterday. Republican Congressman slams Bush on militarized police state preparation. And then down here, the next headline, preparing for martial law. And I said, he's calling for martial law for the bird flu, for for floods, for hurricanes, for terror. And Ron Paul, Vietnam veteran, a flight surgeon, medical doctor, family man, most conservative member of Congress, he said, Bush, it looks like the government is preparing for martial law and gun confiscation. And I just kept asking question after question, and he kept sounding like Alex Jones, just answer after answer. The government wants your guns, and they want to inject you with deadly vaccines, and they want to enslave you because the elite is now out of control, as they've been throughout history, and it's now happening. And he said the bird flu, of course, is nothing but hysteria and fear-mongering by the government. Last year, before the 2004 election, the White House told U.S. News and World Report that we would be nuked.